Another month of Premier League football has passed, so let's look at 5 things that we can take from those matches. This is the Premier League roundup for December. So then, the first point, and this one is based on Chelsea. The point here is that Chelsea have answered my doubts. And what I mean by this is I'm referring back to a previous video that I made where I talked about the title contenders in the Premier League. I had my doubts on Chelsea even after their good spell of form and not conceding many goals. I highlighted the fact that games coming up were harder, and we would see here if they were really up for it. What we've seen since then is a drop in form from them, conceding goals and simply not winning matches. It's shown that yes, they're beating teams they should, but struggling against teams with more quality. 4 losses in 6 games and only 1 win in that time, coming against West Ham. Now all this time through the bad games, I was waiting for the return of Hakim Ziyech, and in Chelsea's last game against Manchester City, okay, it was in January and this is talking about December, but he did return in that game and we didn't exactly see the impact that we thought he would have on the team. To be fair, he kind of looked down and not really that motivated. There was a clip that Roy Keane talked about after that match where Hakim Ziyech didn't track back and try and defend for the team when Man City were countering. For me, he is a player that completely changes a team, but maybe this Man City game just wasn't the one for him. In their next Premier League match, he could easily be the man of the match. But away from Hakim Ziyech, obviously he's not the one who's been making them lose matches. He hasn't been in the team. Someone who has been in the team and has got a lot of people talking is Timo Werner. You can tell he's really struggling in the Premier League, and he's even admitted this in an interview. He said that it's been slightly difficult to adapt to the Premier League, and that the Premier League is a little bit different to the Bundesliga that I used to play in. I have to say it's tougher than I thought. The contact here is harder than in Germany. It makes it not as easy to be the best in every game, but the Premier League is very fun to play in. We know how Timo Werner wants to play. He wants to use his pace to his advantage, running into space, making runs in behind the opposition defence, but with how compact the Premier League is, and how well drilled teams are defensively, I think this is where he's finding his issues. We know how Chelsea are as a football club. They won't mess around in sacking a manager and getting someone else in, and there has been reports already that they are looking at alternatives. In the league, they've got Fulham and then Leicester, so maybe he's able to play these 2 matches to see if he can get some results after a really congested December. Let's see how it pans out, but it's currently not looking great for Frank Lampard. Before the next point, if you could please leave a like on the video, it really helps out the channel and it will be very much appreciated. So then on to point 2, and this one moves on to Manchester United. The point here I titled Manchester United win playing badly, and what this refers to is the 1-0 win against Wolves. It showed us why Manchester United are a different team to the one that we've seen previously. Even when they're playing bad, it feels like they can still score. And right to the very end in this Wolves game, they kept fighting and then they got the goal. These are the kind of wins that keep you near the top of the table, always finding a way to score a goal. And a big reason why they were able to score that goal at the end was the mentality of players. And really, it's that man again, Bruno Fernandes. He got the ball in the 93rd minute on the halfway line, and previously without him in the team, another player in this position passes the ball safely. They make a short pass and try to build up, which more than likely will come to nothing. But Bruno believes in himself, even after a lot of his passes haven't come off in this game. He keeps the faith that this pass will be the one that works. So he plays a long ball over the top to trouble the defence. Rashford is able to run onto it, and with a bit of luck his shot deflects in. Winning ugly, a last minute goal. Something that Ollie highlighted after this game as something that you wanted to see more by this team, scoring late. With results like this, it will make United contenders for the title and keep them challenging with Liverpool. 10 games unbeaten now in the league, and they're looking like a team that are starting to believe in themselves more. Now on to the third point. This one is based on Aston Villa, who seem to be a team that I'm always talking about in these roundup videos. But if I'm being honest, I think it's just because I enjoy watching them. They have players that really interest me, and they are playing well in this league, so they deserve to be talked about. And the title for this is that Aston Villa continue to impress. December saw Villa go unbeaten with 3 wins and 2 draws, continuing their impressive performances this season. In all games so far, they've always been able to have 10 or more shots. And in the league at the moment, Aston Villa have had 239 shots, the 3rd most in the league with only 15 games played. In fact, in Europe's top 5 leagues, Aston Villa rank 5th for shots taken per 90 minutes with 15.9, above teams like Juventus, Real Madrid, RB Leipzig, PSG, Bayern Munich. The list goes on. Having these shots, we find Watkins leading the pack with Grealish and El Ghazi behind him, all having over 20 shots each. Watkins having the most shots, however he hasn't scored since his double against Arsenal in early November. The Crystal Palace game though, he was involved in all of the goals, getting 1 assist and then setting up the other 2 without without being registered the assist for them, having a shot which was parried and then the rebound was scored, as well as a header off the bar followed by a goal. They sit 7th in the league with a game in hand. It is getting all a bit confusing with games played, but they've played 15 while other teams have 16 or 17 played. Their good performances aren't flukes, they're consistently showing them in all games. It makes you think, how high can they look to finish this season? Let me know what you think in the comments. Next we move on to the 4th point, and this one is titled Burnley Are Back. Every season, Burnley is a game that teams never look forward to. On the fixture list of all the Premier League games, it's one that stands out as a tough game. And while this season they did start off poorly, being in the relegation zone, and this was really down to Sean Dyche not having his main 11 available. There was a lot of players missing and he was having to start players who had no experience in the Premier League previously. So this meant that the defensive structure that we all know that Burnley are capable of when all their players are fit wasn't there due to the players that they had in the team. Now though, in December, Burnley have only lost one game, with a 1-1 draw to Everton, a win against Arsenal, a draw to Aston Villa and a win against Wolves. Then the loss to Leeds United came, followed by a 1-0 win against Sheffield United. And this is exactly why I say Burnley are back. Now when you have a look at the fixture list and you see that you've got Burnley coming up, it's a bit more frightening because you know that they're going to give you a hard game, their fitness levels are back where they should be, their players are back, and they're ready to give any team in the Premier League a tough game and get some points to take them away from the relegation zone. As I said a moment ago, the defensive structure that they have, we know they're capable of. They only conceded 3 goals in December. Sean Dyche really does always find a way to turn it around at Burnley, and it now seems that relegation isn't on the cards for them. So then moving on to the 5th point and the final point, this one is titled Transfers Could Be Decisive. With the league table so open entering the January transfer window, it makes it a really important window. Usually when we're at this window, you look at a few teams. If they make this deal, they could start playing better. If another team gets this one, they could rise up the table. This season, it seems that any deals that are completed can give teams the edge in the league that might shoot them up the table. The more players, the better, with the congestion of games and rotation needed to make a team work. So let's say Everton, for example, when they've had all their players fit, they've been playing some brilliant stuff with Ancelotti as manager, but some players get injured or suspended and then the results aren't as good. To get some more consistency, they could look to bring in players to give them depth in crucial positions. Like they've been rumoured for Dele Alli or Isco, this type of player could give them the creativity that is missing when James Rodriguez isn't in the team. To be honest, I kind of imagine that some teams will be straight away signing a player to try and gain any advantage in the league this season, to try and get players in as soon as possible so they can put them in games straight away, but so far, no deals have been completed to Premier League teams. But this could be because of many reasons. The financial difficulties that teams are having at the moment, they're having to consider the moves that they make in great detail, plus this transfer window is very different due to the rules that are in place because of Brexit. Maybe players that they wanted to bring in now can't come because of these rules, and maybe teams are just trying to find any little clever ways that they can bypass these rules. But with all this being said, I'm sure it won't be too long until we're talking about how a certain player could fit into their new team. Be sure to get involved in the comments and leave your thoughts on anything talked about in this video. I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.